I'm ready when you are.
Oh, you are?
That. Whenever you're ready, yeah.
If she says she's ready, she is ready. Let's do this.
Well, I'm trying, right?
Hey everybody, this is Thursday, June 24th. Yesterday was my dad's birthday, by the way. This is the Producer's Happy Hour, and today we're going to get real and talk about what's ailing a lot of us.
Well, I'll start by saying we're two producers on opposite coasts. Lawrence Lewis is in LA, and I'm Sister Christian in New York, and we're chatting over drinks about what it means to be a good producer. Understanding, of course, it's more important now than ever before.
It really is. And we want to hear from you, so please join the conversation at producershappyhourgroup.com or email us at producershappyhour@gmail.com. Send us your questions, your thoughts, your ideas for shows, or if you want to be on the show, anything you want, hit us up.
And, very importantly, because of algorithms, we need for you, please, to take a moment and go to Apple Podcasts, rate and review us so that other people like you can experience our show. Because, how else are they going to find us besides algorithms?
And we're all controlled by the algorithm. And
Exactly.
if you have questions for us, join us for office hours. We believe in mentorship and sharing information in this business. So, if you're new to the industry or you're stuck somewhere in your career and just want to talk to a producer, hit us up. Same email, producershappyhour@gmail.com.
Yes, we love talking about ourselves and giving advice. So please hit us up.
Hence the podcast. Christian, what are you drinking?
Well, I want to hear yours first.
I'm just having a simple Stone Delicious IPA. That's it.
You with these IPAs, it's like
I know.
I
It's a
know.
thing.
Well, I ventured out to something that was, easy peasy, but also turned out to be really good. Are you familiar with Cazadores tequila?
Yeah.
George,
Mhm.
they now have their own seltzers.
Oh, hard
And
seltzers.
so, yes.
Ah.
And so, or, margaritas and spicy margaritas. And I have to tell you, they were delicious. And I bought some last night and had, served them to a guest and then have continued now. So it's perfect.
Well,
They're delicious. They're
stay on the
delicious.
train. Stay on the train. It sounds delicious.
I'm not. Well, yeah. Well, kind of, it's good to begin with, but I have to say, sometimes that hard seltzer does not translate.
Yeah.
Bud Light hard seltzer does not translate
No.
quite as what you'd want it to be. So
Yeah.
these are really
Because it's
good.
totally
So,
different. It's fermented fruit, right? And it's
It's like malt liquor. It's like this. I would liken it to what this day and 30 years ago, what a wine cooler was.
yeah.
Remember when wine coolers came out? Yeah. So
Bartles and James.
delicious. Actually had some Seagram Sea Breezes the other day, but yeah,
No way.
I digress. I know. I mean, anything that colorful could not be good for you.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, hey, we missed last week. Sorry, everybody. But man, it
was important, I think.
What was important?
Well, I mean, neither one of us could do last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a few reasons. And it was because it was work and family issues and, just the inability to articulate. Oh, sometimes you get so busy, you can't even articulate what, is happening. And then on top of that, it's, it's also just really hard right now to admit that you are not doing okay with opening back up. And I just feel like the anxiety is at a high level right now.
That's what it seems like. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, yeah, exactly. Last week was very, very busy for both of us. Family issues as well for you, Christian. And the stress is real. So we took some time off. I didn't even post about it or anything. So apologies that we just kind of went dark on everyone for the week. But hey, we're back. Here we are. And that's what we're going to talk about is work-life balance, work anxiety. Because I think a lot of people are feeling it, right? You had a rough week. How are you doing this week?
I feel like I have so much to do that I don't want to do any of it. It's like you don't know where to start. So I can't, and I know for sure that I'm having an issue with not completing like I feel like I can't finish anything
Yeah.
because, like this one's in limbo and that's in limbo. And so when I get asked, like, is this done yet? I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, there was one thing I was waiting on. Like, I can't, I just feel it's not about time management.
Mm-mm.
And it's not about organization or having a notebook or any of that shit, because, that's kind of comes second nature to us. It's actually about being so busy that I think of something. By the time I look down and type something into my computer, I have forgotten what I need to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is just something I've just never experienced in my life. I can do high level jobs and manage my own life and all of these things, but I'm not able to do it now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. And maybe it was 20 years of being able to do it. And then all of a sudden our brain shut off for 2 months last year and I'm still resetting from it.
For
But
two
I don't
months.
even know. Well, yeah, well,
That's
you and
true.
I
We did
back
go
to
back to
work like
work.
right
Yeah,
away.
yeah. It felt
I mean,
like an
I did.
eternity.
I mean, I
Yeah,
filmed something last May with a bunch of DPs in their own homes.
that's
Like
true.
I just, yeah. And I don't know. I can't. And I think part of the anxiety that I feel is that I can theorize and pinpoint a lot of things that I think is going on. But I think collectively as a community, a, a lot of people are feeling this way and we can't quite put our thumb on it.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And I know I've definitely been going through that as well. And not knowing where it's coming from, just like you said, it's like, we used to be able to do these jobs and move through life and move through all of it. And as much as, the jobs were even bigger back then, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And that now all of a sudden, and I do have to say, I was starting to experience some work-related anxiety, a little bit. Anxiety is a strong word, maybe stress before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But then opening up last year and doing some massive jobs and complicated jobs during all of it, then that's when the anxiety really, really bubbled back up for me. And yeah, and here it is. And now I have to really kind of acknowledge it. And I'm so glad that being able to talk about mental health is a lot more acceptable these days because it's very real.
It's very real. And I think that us talking about it a lot, like the more we all talk about it, the more it becomes second nature to discuss it. And I do think that if you know that other people are experiencing what you're experiencing, then it makes it okay for you to experience it a little bit more. Like maybe not okay, but you don't feel like you're the only person out there going through this. And like, why can't, I mean, nobody else is having this problem. So why am I having it? Like, it's just, I think it's a very real sense right now. I hear it in people's voices everywhere from other EPs to like all the way down to PAs, but also clients. I heard it from a casting director. I've heard it from a recruiter. I've heard it from so many different people across the entire industry that they're feeling this way.
Yeah, 100%. And more and more people I talk to, it's definitely, I don't know if everyone's going through the levels of anxiety that you and I talk about, but there's definitely rethinking about, how this business works and how much longer people can participate in it. At least in my circle of people, I think the morale is low. Morale is
pretty low right now. And you, like one person coming in to be like, everything's great. It does not work anymore. Like you can usually change the mood in a room by injecting positive attitude, but that's not working anymore because people are they're isolating even and I think that there's something else going on too. Like we were trusted for the last year and few months to work independently at home on our own. And now there's a push for companies to get people back into the office, but a lot of, and so yes, that's great for some, but I think there should be somewhat of a choice with that because even though, like, I think that not everybody works better.
Yeah.
Commuting to work and then home from work. I think that what we weren't receiving before the shutdown was being treated like an individual, but also as part of a team. I think coming back, like it says, I think we should be paying more attention to individuals' needs as well.
Yeah. I remember when we spoke with Susan Ruitt Anderson and we were talking about putting, sick days in the budget. So if somebody was feeling sick, they could be covered and not have to worry about it. And maybe doubling up on some crew in case, somebody fell ill. And of course, those were kind of pipe dreams, I guess. But
well, the whole, like it all feels like a pipe dream of wanting, naive Christian optimist, out there felt like, hey, we're going to come back and people are going to be like, kinder to each other and our hours are going to be better. And all the things that we discussed that were the crux of us, having like of our woes, and we were designing Euphoria coming back. I'm not going to say it's worse, but I'm going to say that my ability to handle it is not as strong as it used to be.
Same here. And I'm always wondering, is it, I'm getting older. Am I just not able to handle as much? But then the more and more people I talk to,
like, stop that. Don't even put that.
The more people I talk to, it sounds like, no, this is a thing that's happening to a lot of people. Something has shifted. Something has shifted in our psyche or in the business or in the way we operate. I think for me, a big part of it, two big things that I know, and obviously we're into the show topic. Here we are, we're talking about it. But, like last year when we came back and I did one of my first jobs and, we were experiencing civil unrest. We were going through the biggest fires California has ever had. There was literally ash raining down upon us from the sky because of the fires. And there's still civil unrest happening. Cops are killing, Black people. And it's just like so many things were happening. And I'm standing there making a TV commercial. And I think that really threw me for a loop as to, what is the value in what we do when we put so much of ourselves into it. We some of these jobs, we're moving mountains, it's just so much, such a big volume of work and such a big volume of money and financial responsibility rests on our shoulders in these situations. I mean, one wrong move, especially now with the way jobs are budgeted, they're so slim, they're so narrow. One wrong move and it could be, financially disastrous. So it's like, for what? For a TV commercial. And so why am I putting my body, emotions, and stress through all that for a multi-million-dollar corporation and their advertising campaign? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but like those were the things I was going through last year, and I'm sure that's trickling into today.
Well, yes, and I it's not Debbie Downer. It's just more like how much. I mean, the old things, blood from a stone. Like I get that, yes. Yeah. But and then we also have the flip side of being freelance and like, well, there's always somebody younger out there willing to do what we're doing. But again, that's not it. I think and we've touched on it a few times this season, but I think that in reality, what is happening is we're seeing production shift because of our efficiencies. And because last year we efficiently made commercials happen with, 10 crew members or less. Mm-hmm. The thirst for streaming, was, everyone's on their couch or whatever the narrative was, which wasn't true, but
right.
I know streaming services are now, it's everywhere streaming. So nobody's watching television or receiving content the way that they used to. And so the landscape of commercial production, especially, is changing before our eyes.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yes. And we're all experiencing that. And it is in the traditional ways we used to do it are now, again, we were innovative. We made it happen. But and we've said this a million times, like it's never going to be the way it was.
Right.
So I think part of the anxiety that we're feeling are these, I wouldn't even call them growing pains. I would say shifting pains, because the industry has shifted in a very significant way.
Right.
Because coming out, and we're not going to see it's not going to be like streamlined, exactly. Like, I don't think we're going to be pinpoint exactly how it's changed for another 6 months or so.
Or a year, really.
True.
Yeah,
and because Delta's coming. So, I'm not joking about it, but I'm joking about it because seriously, get vaccinated. Anyway.
Yeah, there's
Sister Christian says get vaccinated.
There's so many potential downfalls of us still coming out of this, from variants to economic collapse to inflation. We've learned about our supply lines are so fragile. Like, all of those things, at least for me, I think are working into my psyche. And I feel still like we're going through some really trepidatious times. It's like we're not just done. LA's open June 15th. Great. We're out. We're going to restaurants and bars. That's wonderful. That's exciting. But I think we're still in a little bit of trouble, and we still have a lot of cleanup to do for the damage that happened last year. And that's definitely weighing on me, and I would imagine it's weighing on some other people as well.
Yeah, and I've been now here in LA. You can just like, if you're vaccinated, on your honor, you can just walk in without a mask anywhere. Which, again, I'm thankful for. I'm not. I don't want it, but I'm hesitant because habit of leaving your house with a mask was a solid year and 2 months. So it is weird for me to not do it now. And I know that I can because I am fully vaccinated, but I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so hesitant to do it, or like to go into crowd, because I used to be much more social than I am now.
Yeah. I think it did a number on all of us. And yeah, it does feel strange to go into an establishment without the mask on. But here it is. The time came, and hopefully it stays, because I can't imagine going back down again. That would be kind of disastrous.
It'll all be Orange County if it's so. Stop, Christian.
Stop.
There'll be some Sacramento and Fresno in there too. Don't worry.
What are you doing to cope with your anxiety, your stress, and all that stuff? Because you go ahead.
That's an interesting question, because I was asked that 2 days ago and I drew a blank.
Okay.
And that's usually not like me. And I understand that I'm not doing anything to anything, because I'm just literally trying to get through the day with my workload and my personal stuff. And so if that's the case, then holy shit, like come on, I gotta, and there's no saying snap out of it, because there's no snapping out of this. There needs to be, I need to produce myself. How are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, exactly that. Trying to produce myself a little more and trying to regiment myself a little more. I think the things that I've been doing recently, and this is only within the last 2 weeks, I'm by no means an expert on solving these anxiety things. I'm reading a book. It's been very helpful. It's called Living Without the Fear of Fear. And it's helpful. And there's some tips in there that's more than just, breathing and meditation, which I'm doing both of those. But the main thing that I'm doing is I'm now getting up an hour earlier than I used to.
It sounds very Josh Jupiter-ish. Keep going.
And trust me, I'm
in a good way.
I'm so anti this. I don't know if you see these ads, but I see these ads from like these ripped guys on Facebook, and they're like, I get up at 4:30 every day. My routine is intense, and that's how you are a success in business and in life. And it's just like, shut the hell up. I'm not doing that. But I'm getting up an hour earlier than I used to, and I'm dedicating that time to just myself. I'm not opening my computer. I'm not looking at text messages or answering anything. I'm taking that time to exercise, and that is really helpful. That really, really helps me. I look forward to it. And I used to exercise like crazy, but now with this workload, I can't fit it in. 8:15 rolls around, and my day's like done in a blink of an eye. It's 4. So getting up earlier gives me that time to do, and it's just modest exercise. It's nothing major, but I'm enjoying it.
I know you're like CrossFit, I get it. You're not like CrossFit.
Not CrossFit. Yes. I used to do Muay Thai kickboxing, but
Jesus, exactly. Yeah.
That was a while ago. So I'm just kind of getting back into some sort of physical activity. Just because of my workload, I don't have time to go out and get my daily coffee. I'm not a morning coffee drinker. I drink coffee in the afternoon, espresso drinks in the afternoon. And I don't do that. And the book that I'm reading talks about your gut has a lot to do. The health of your gut has a lot to do with anxiety issues. So cutting coffee has actually made me feel a ton better, a lot better. And that was just a mistake. And I just haven't craved it, haven't thought about it. And my gut feels a lot better for it. The other thing that I have been obsessed with podcasts, and I would put on anytime I would go in the shower or I'd play a podcast in the bathroom. Anytime I go walk, 3 blocks to grab a bite to eat, I'm going to listen to 6 minutes of a podcast just because I felt like I was getting some information into my day that was useful and knowledgeful. I found if I just don't do that, I'll listen to the news in the morning and that is it. I listen to music instead. I feel so much better. And that's been a big change.
That's pretty
for me.
dedicated. I mean, but that's a huge change. Like, I mean, like you have to really concentrate on that dedicating.
Well, but you know what? I think it's one of those things that you realize you don't miss it, and it's like, I don't really miss it. There isn't really anything that I miss from, I don't really miss the coffee. I don't really miss the podcast. I'm really enjoying getting back into music. And I think those things are just helping declutter my brain a bit. And then I do the Headspace app, and then I do some breathing and that kind of stuff in the morning.
Right.
In my now personal hour morning routine. And that's been helping. It's been helping. I'm not solved. I'm not cured, but it does help me move through the day a little bit better.
Oh, well, okay, fine. Fix me.
We'll talk. We'll talk. I'll send you a list.
Send me the book. Fine.
I'll send you the book. Yeah.
But that's I guess what I'm at. There's so much that I don't know where to start, so I don't do anything. I think that's a big takeaway. I would like for people to understand that it's unbelievable. Like, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. And it's just sheer amount of like, I can't even begin sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm getting shit done. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But I used to be more efficient.
Yeah. I used to be more efficient as well. And I don't know what happened over the past year and a half, 2 years, but something shifted, and I'm trying to find that efficiency and that drive again to get up and make everything seem achievable. I think it's a bit of a challenge these days, but you can get yourself back there. It's all neurotransmitters, and you can work those back up and get yourself back to where you're not paralyzed by your to-do list. It's possible. It just takes work.
All right.
We'll work on the side, and I'll send you a bill.
Okay, done. Done. I love it.
Now, you recently, in our last couple of minutes here, you recently put out a message on CoPros asking people about stress and anxiety, and if anybody was interested in, tell me about it. What was it you put out there?
Well, I just feel like if I'm having this, like, again, I think it's part of if I'm feeling this, and I'm the high-powered, savvy producer that I know that I am, then there are people, and I've always felt like we've just never had a very good support system within our production community, because we've never been unionized, and we're all like A-type personalities. And then it doesn't even lend to our job, because our job says, we have to immediately be good at what we're doing. Like, we're not allowed to ask questions. We have to know everything. And if somebody tells you to do something, you're like, no problem. And then you figure it out. Like, we've created the environment that we're absolutely isolated in our own like workflow. And so it just felt important to me, and I've always wanted to, but it felt important to me that I just wanted to offer, I know if I'm feeling this, then there are multiple people out there feeling this. So I think that we should start a production support group.
Yeah.
And so I put it out there, and I definitely had some takers on it, but I haven't even,
too busy.
You just reminded me that I'm like, oh, fuck, I need to like I mean, this is it. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to form the email later to everybody and just be like, hey, like, this is what happened. I could not even
get back.
I wanted to do it, but I couldn't even get back to it. So, and that it's the truth. So I think that that's part of the support that I need, and that everybody needs out there, is to actually get some support. Yeah.
If we can't even carve time out of our day for us to meditate or exercise or something, carving time out of our day to put together a group like that, it's all challenging. But I love that you started it. That's important. You put the post out, and then tonight you're going to respond to some people, and we'll get it going. It's also all part of the mentorship thing that we've been talking about too, right? There's no mentorship, there's no sharing information, there's no education, and there's no, support. We call each other once.
Imagine your career if you would have had that.
Night and day. I was just going to say, we call each other once a week now. Like, hey, I've got this problem. What do you think I should do about this?
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't know the answer.
No.
Just having a
We're
sounding
confirming that we
we're
know the answer.
confirming that we know the answer. Yeah, exactly.
And that's just not something that to be honest, that we did on a regular basis before the pandemic. And I think it's something that we developed because we needed it. And we also craved that support. So and it's just foreign because we never had it coming up through the business. It was a catch as catch can.
Yeah. Don't admit you don't know something. Yeah.
I know. And I think people who admit that they don't know something are some of the smartest people out there, because then nobody's spinning their wheels. Nobody's spinning their wheels. And we're just like, great, then let me tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no judgment based on it. It's just, but we've somehow believed that to be true, that there's judgment. They're not going to think that I can handle it.
Exactly. If anybody wants in on it, hit us up. producershappyhour@gmail.com.
I would love that. Producers Happy Hour was created with the help of Christopher Daniels, who is a treatment designer, and he created the logo and branding for us.
And Kyle Puccia, who's a music composer for commercials, film, and TV. He created the show music you're listening to right now.
This episode was edited by the amazing Eric Beals.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll try to be back next week. Hopefully we can keep to a regular schedule.
Maybe. It'll be July already. And please keep being safe out there. I know what it's like, so...
Yeah. Send us your voice recordings or your emails, or if you want to join our support group, producershappyhour@gmail.com.
Lawrence, how do people get a hold of you?
2 ways. voiceoflawrence.com for voiceover work, or lawrencetLewis.com for producing. How about you?
SisterChristianProduces.com.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.